This is Scott from Cloak, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast. Sweet. Brutally
Delicious! Hey, welcome to the Brutally Delicious podcast. I'm Bruce Moore, and as you're going to find out here in a second, my partner Chris is MIA. Seems he took Russ's advice a couple weeks ago. Russ from Touch the Sun, and learned how to spin his beer slowly to cool it off, and he perfected the trick, and now I haven't seen him. Appears he is drunk as a skunk somewhere. So we're going to go ahead and do this episode ourselves. You're going to have to deal with me. Obviously I'm the better looking one, but you're going to have to deal with us, or me, and be a little bit different. We went live this time to speak with Scott from Cloak. If you haven't checked out Cloak, they're an Atlanta-based band. Heavy as hell, mixture of so many different genres. I don't know how to explain them, but man, I hadn't heard of them. I had heard their name going into it. Hadn't heard them personally. Haven't listened to anything or seen them, and didn't know what to expect. They showed up, interviewed Scott. Super great guy, as you're about to find out, but holy crap, is them good. So go ahead and give Cloak a listen. You definitely won't regret it. And then tune in and let's listen to what Scott had to say about the bands, the movie Lords of Chaos, and other generalities. So sit back, enjoy. Once again, thank you for supporting the Brutally Delicious podcast. We appreciate all your feedback, input, and comments. Keep them coming. Share, spread the love. Whatever you can do to help us out here.
Good.
So let's, we just talked a little bit ago, but tell me about, how's the tour going so far?
It's been really good. Packed out shows every night. Chemist has been a great band to tour with. It's sort of that mixed audience where Cloak is sort of always the odd man out on a lot of these tours, so like we can kind of blend in with a lot of different bands, and it somehow works for us. It's been great reception. We've been gaining new fans, and we've seen old ones come, and just people that recognize the songs, so it doesn't get much better than that as a newer band.
What's it like traveling when the heat is like 107 degrees out?
It's awful. Even being from the south is just, it's still, you never really get used to it. I mean, it's upwards to 95, 96. Could be 100 degrees in Philly when we're there. It's bad. Last night in Raleigh, the show was exhausting. It was just like a swampland, but I don't know, I kind of like adding that sort of torturous atmosphere to a lot of our shows. It just works in a specific way for us, where we need to like fight through that pain and agony as we play. So it is what it is, but yeah, it's oppressive.
I know Two Venomous Deaths was 2017. You guys got anything in the works for?
Yeah, we have a new album coming out. I can't say much more, but the announcement will be pretty soon now, and it's scheduled to come out by the end of 2019.
Okay. Yep. So let's talk about writing for a second. When you guys are you writing like the old school method where you're banging things off each other, or are you writing like emailing stuff back and forth?
A little bit of both. In the beginning, it was sort of like the collaborative thing. I usually will come up with the initial riff, but Sean and Max do a good bit too. And this one was more so, I guess, the newer way, where I was demoing stuff on my computer. Like the last half of the record was mostly just me doing the full songs, and then Sean, the drummer, adds his own flavor to it, and we rearrange parts here and there too. And then Max brings in his riffs, and it's constant layering.
So, doing it that way as opposed to doing it the other way, do you find like you lose a sort of immediacy? Because I think when you do it the other way, it's like really organic, right? And it's really in the moment.
There's definitely a difference. I think like there's a bit of a stripped down to the point sort of sound with the ones that I did on my own. But I think that's a good thing, because I think some stuff in our older writing could sort of go off in tangents sometimes, and I don't think it's a good or bad thing. It's just like a preference thing. I don't really think we lose much of the organic aspect of it because, like I said, the drummer really comes in and adds his own flavor to it because he's not going to play like a drum machine like when I demo stuff. So I don't think we lose anything.
When you're writing and you said you're doing a lot of the stuff on your machine, are you like keeping in mind how it's going to come across on stage, or are you writing just like for the song's sake?
Mostly for the song's sake. It's funny you say that because some of the stuff that I did write on my own, where I could layer things and hear it as I'm layering it, as I'm demoing it, it was a little bit harder to pull off live. There's a little bit more clean singing parts here and there, not overly done, but those parts were a bit of a struggle to kind of get down in the practice room, and we have yet to play them live, so we'll see how it goes, but we were able to work around a lot of things. So I think you should do that as a band. I mean, you need to challenge yourself too, so it's not, we're not writing the same song over and over again, but the Cloak style is still very much there.
Okay. We cool, Phil?
Yeah.
So how does it make you feel? You've been sitting in front of the computer, or you've been sitting in the rehearsal room for 6 months, a year, whatever it is. How does it make you feel when it's finally done and those songs come to life in front of a live audience?
It's no better feeling, really. We've introduced 2 new songs on this tour, and seeing the reaction from them has been like a little bit of a taste for how that's going to come across when we start sort of introducing more of those newer songs into it. And I mean, yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's just a song that you write on a random night as you're, in your home, and then you're playing it on stage in front of a couple hundred people and seeing the reaction. I mean, it's crazy.
I listen to Cloak records or Cloak music. There's quite a bit of different influences coming in. Everything from like real death metal stuff to more doomy kind of thing. Yeah. What are you listening to? What's on your player on a regular basis?
It really depends. I mean, I'm a classic kind of guy. I mean, I like Metallica, and I was listening to a lot of 80s thrash during the time where we were writing our new album, and I don't really think that like comes across in it, but it was just what I was listening to at the time, and maybe a little bit of it. I mean, I was listening to a lot of like old Creator, older Megadeth and Metallica and Slayer. I mean, those are always going to be my favorite bands, but I don't know. I think we all have a common interest in like all the Danzig bands, like Misfits, Samhain, Danzig are like our favorite bands, and then Morbid Angel, American death metal mixed with like obviously the Scandinavian black metal stuff, and then bands like Sisters of Mercy and Fields of the Nephilim. It's all kind of in there, but I don't know if what we listen to, during that week is going to matter when it comes to the song that we write that week or something like that. I just think it's good to have that wide range of music kind of going all the time. And I'm constantly checking out newer bands too. Like I still like to... But it's about 1 out of 10 out of those newer bands that I like stick to, that I'm like, okay, I can listen to this a ton. I mean, there was a band last year that released a record. The band is Tafos. I think that's how you pronounce it. Denmark, death metal. It's fucking great. And then they are sort of like in the same circle as this band called Slate, if that's how you pronounce it, from Denmark as well. And Slate is a little more kind of what Cloak does. It kind of has a little bit of that rock and roll edge to it, but it's a little bit of black metal, a little bit of the gothic undertones, and I listen to those bands quite a bit for like newer artists. So.
I know you jumped the Misfits. What do you think about that Playing the Garden? Did you see that?
I did, yeah. It would be great to see. I saw some footage, and I mean, Danzig doesn't sound how he's older, and your voice goes, but I've seen him 3 times now, and we played that Psycho Vegas gig where he was playing as well. He did How the Gods Kill, and I mean, I'm a lifelong fan. I think he's such an innovative artist, and he always did things his way, and I look up to him so much as an artist, so I think it's great that they're doing that.
I'd love to go, but I'm sure that's going to be like already unaffordable.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny too, because when they were the Misfits that we know, I mean, they were playing like, it was like punk hardcore gigs, so it was like they were playing like not that different of shows that we're playing on this tour, you know. But then 30 some years later, they're doing the biggest shows of their life in arenas. So it's kind of, I mean, some people could look at it as a cash grab, but I think Danzig at least is a genuine enough person. I don't know what Jerry only is.
It'll be nice seeing him and Doyle on the same stage together.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting.
We still good for a couple more?
Yeah. I'm actually good for however you want.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've only got a few more.
Cool.
You mentioned black metal, Scandinavian black metal. What's your take on the Lords of Chaos?
I didn't like it. I mean, it was. I'm a movie guy too, so from a cinema aspect, I thought it was pretty shitty. The acting was pretty terrible. But at the same time, like, I'm not gonna have this huge opinion about it, because that a lot of people my age like to act like that was their scene, and I mean, you can hold something sacred to you, but also realize, like, you weren't there, you didn't have anything to do in creating it, you're living off of stuff that they created that was an amazing art form. But don't try to act like you knew Euronymous, or you knew Dead, or you knew Varg. Like, it is what it is. But people, you know, in entertainment are going to grab onto these cultural phenomenons either way, especially in 2019, and they're gonna make something of it. They're gonna do what they want to do, and even if it was the guy that played in Bathory, like, I mean, he went on to do Lady Gaga music videos, so it's just, he's not like this huge black metal head anymore, I doubt. So it is what it is. Strictly from a movie aspect, I didn't really like it. I mean, it had some scenes here and there, but honestly, my favorite scene was when they were partying to Accept in the house.
Right. I thought it was, for movie's sake, it was okay.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting that they brought, or kind of cool that they brought the black metal to, I guess, the masses, if you want. I don't know how much of a theatrical. Yeah. But at the same time, that's kind of antithetical to what black metal really is about.
I mean, it is, but I think it's sort of been going on that path for a while now. And like I said, like, I didn't have anything to do with. I was 4 when De Mysterious came out in, I think, '94. So it's just like, I'm not gonna sit around and act like I had anything to do with that scene, but I am gonna say that I do hold the true black metal spirit, like, really close to my heart. But again, I don't know, people like to have these kind of staunch opinions about things when they didn't really have anything to do with it. But I have my opinions about the movie, and I think it just makes it another laughing stock for the genre in general. People, like, black metal has just turned into a bunch of people making memes. It's turned into Vice documentaries. It's turned into bands that really aren't genuine about the true spirit of it anyway.
What it was originally supposed to be about.
And I guess in ways I'm I don't know, I'm a primal thinker sometimes, so I tap into those sort of energies that it was built upon, and that's just my take on it. I'm not saying everyone has to have that take, and I don't think everyone should, and I don't think it is for everyone to really deal with or handle anyways. So
I spoke with, we just did a podcast a couple weeks ago with Morning Guest from Enthroned, and he's totally vehemently against that movie. He said,
who was it with?
Morning Guest from Enthroned, the singer. And he was just like, because they're old school. I mean, they're not from Norway or whatever. They're from Belgium. Okay. But same sort of time frame, and he grew up he said the same thing. He said it's making a laughing stock.
Yeah, it is. Just even the acting in general, like Varg's whole character. I mean, Varg is a goofy guy.
A character anyway.
Yeah, so it's definitely. I think it was an anti-Varg film, honestly.
Right. Cool. What's next for Cloak? Sorry, I kept you talking.
No. I'm good to talk about things like that. So next we have, after this tour, which ends at the end of July, we go out with 1349. Well, we're doing 2 dates with them in Florida, and then we have a third date by ourselves.
That's a great gig. I love it.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. Mid-August for that, and then after that, we're doing a small run out to Texas and back, just because we haven't hit Louisiana or Texas and those states yet. So that'll be cool to finally end sort of the Venomous cycle with hitting pretty much all of the U.S. at that point. I mean, all the major parts of the U.S. and getting down to Texas and coming back. And then after that, it's dealing with a new album, all the press for it. And
have you gotten overseas yet?
No, that's on the horizon, hopefully, for this new album. Nothing set in stone yet. But.
All right, well, that's all. Hopefully, Kris will be back next week. Until then, thanks again for listening, and keep it metal.